Thankful for her wavy stories. Hold on to the lifetime we won't get back. I know these rivers carry on. People tend to stick to you after time. Places tend to do the same as we do. This river carries on and on.
Hello and welcome to Kankakee Podcast, where we talk about the people and places of Kankakee County. I'm Jake LaMore, and today we are joined by a husband and wife whose nonprofit organization was just named the Kankakee County Chamber of Commerce's Non-for-Profit of the Year Award for 2021. Their organization is called Still I Rise, which is a dynamic and innovative leadership development nonprofit that empowers youth and young adults to create a positive change in society. And if you've been listening to the podcast, you know that Kankakee Podcast is all about positive change, obviously, especially in Kankakee County. So please let's welcome Aaron and Tocarra Robinson to the show. Welcome, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, of course. It's great to see you face to face. Aaron and I have been talking for like the last couple weeks or a month. I forget how time just goes by so quickly anymore that I. But you know, it was so great to actually link up with you on LinkedIn, and you're like, hey, can we be, how does someone become a guest on Kankakee Podcast? And it's so funny because I had Still I Rise on my list for, people to talk to in 2022. So
yes.
Here we are.
Thank you. Thank you.
There's so many things to talk about, and not just with Still I Rise. Obviously, it's a big part of what both of you do. But even aside from that, you run your own publishing company too, right?
Yes, yes.
Yes, absolutely.
So we can get into that as well. But how did you two meet? Are you both from the area, or do you come from elsewhere? I want to know.
Yeah, I'm from the area, but actually from Pembroke or Hopkins Park.
Okay.
So we met years ago.
Funny story.
Yeah.
Oh, I love funny stories. Let's hear it. We just got done with Valentine's Day, so we got to hear this story.
You want to share it?
So we met actually at KCC when I was pursuing my associates, and so was he. And I was about 17 years old, and so we worked at the library together, the KCC library.
The KCC, okay.
Yeah, and...
Don't say my age. No, go ahead.
So then he kind of, we were friends or whatever, and then he kind of approached me or whatever, and then like years later we circled back around. He finished his bachelor's at Columbia College, and we circled back around again, and yeah, the rest is kind of history.
And I didn't see you in years.
Right?
I was just handling business, went to the post office. I was like, hey, that should go again.
It's almost like you start bumping into each other continually after a while, and you're just like, it just makes you think, like, maybe there's more to this than meets the eye. So it was just like, after that so many times, you're just like, okay, let's get serious, or
let's go out. Go ahead, Aaron.
I mean, I didn't have anyone in my life at the time, so I'm out here trying to be serious about things. Like, hey, I just got to college. I need to make a life for myself, and I seen her. I was like, hey, like, I remember when we used to work together. Can I have your number?
That's exactly what he did too, Jake.
I mean, I don't know how the dynamics of the library worked at KCC at that time, but sometimes dating a fellow coworker is frowned upon,
Yeah.
I don't know if it is as much as it used to be. I feel like it's becoming more acceptable, but I could be wrong on that. I don't know. There's that rule, like, don't date your coworker. Because if it ends, like... It doesn't always end that way, though. I know there's a couple that came from the radio station I work for. They were coworkers at the radio station, and now it's like, I think they just celebrated 25 years or 30 years together, as a married couple. So, I mean, it's not always bad. Now, so you're originally born and raised in Hopkins Park in Pembroke?
Actually born Chicago, but mainly raised in Pembroke. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what part of Chicago and what brought your family to? Did you spend a lot of time in Chicago, or were you just a baby?
I was a baby, but definitely I spent a whole lot of time in Chicago. So our family's from the west side of Chicago. So I'm grateful that my mother, father brought us out to Hopkins Park because they were trying to escape the violence and things and such that was such in the neighborhood. So Hopkins Park was a great place for me to live through poverty. So we had family, so everything was great, besides the obstacles and challenges and things and such. So I'm grateful for that instead of living in Chicago, the west side. So,
So you're a White Sox fan. Is that what you said?
You could say that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Or you kind of teeter between the two. The Sox.
No comment on that. I don't want to get hurt after the interview.
Yeah, you're gonna. Yeah, people are tuning this podcast off right now as we're speaking. So, how old were you when you came from? What do you remember about Chicago?
I was very young.
I mean, like infant. You were like an infant, or you were a couple years old, or
3-4 years old.
Okay,
yeah, around that time. But we had a lot of stories. Well, not a lot of stories. During the summers and a lot of times of the weekends, we did end up going back to Chicago because I have a lot of family there. So my mother always take us there.
Sure.
So yeah.
So what do you remember your parents telling you as you got older about life in Chicago for them? I mean, I know you just referenced violence, but I'm just curious if any stories come to mind that they shared with you when you were older to understand.
Just when they lived on Florida in Chicago, I heard it's just the same old stories that you hear now, but it's not as detrimental. You had your shootings and things like that. I have 2 older brothers, so they've been through a lot of things as far as when they was coming up in Chicago. So they was gratefully and happy to leave the city, and I didn't experience a lot of that part, but I always felt like I was connected to Chicago. So I was always infatuated by it in a lot of ways. When we used to go up there on the weekends through the summers, I went back to the west side during my days at Columbia College, Chicago. Did I like all the days there? No, but I needed the place to live, you know what I'm saying, to get back and forth to school.
You probably had friends or family
I did.
there.
I did. It wasn't a great experience with a lot of things in the environment. Growing home was great, but outside of that, no.
Yeah.
But I did what I needed to do to finish college.
Well, who would want to do that commute? I mean, going from the Hopkins Park, or even if you weren't in Hopkins, if you were anywhere in Kankakee County, it's just not a fun commute.
It's not. She can tell you a lot about it.
Did you go to Columbia as well?
No, I did not, but I commuted when I was pursuing my master's degree in public administration at Roosevelt University. I commuted those 2 years from Kankakee.
Okay. Yeah, that's not fun.
No, not at all. Not at all. How did I do it?
Yeah, I still ask people that I know commute all the time. I'm like, how do you do it? I just don't know if I could ever handle that. How did your parents how did they end up choosing Hopkins Park, Pembroke? Did you have family that was here, or was it friends, or did they just happen to look at the map and they're like, hey, this sounds promising?
A lot of my parents there, they from the South, like Memphis and my mother, like, they from Little Rock and things like that. So they moved to Chicago for a better opportunity. So then Hopkins Park, so Hopkins Park, when they went out there, my mother already had like siblings that was already moving out there. So that reminded them of the country where they grew up at. So, so they was looking forward to that environment. So yeah, I'm grateful that they did.
So Tocarra, where do you come from? Did you say you were from the county too?
I'm a Kankakee native. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. So grew up in the city then?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
What part of the city?
As a youth, north side, and then migrated to the south side.
Okay. So not too far. So not too far from where we're at actually now, because like I'm on that border of Bradley and Kankakee. So not too far from the north side as we speak. So you go to Columbia, Aaron, and what did you ended up graduating with?
Bachelor of Fine Arts in Graphic Design, or Graphic Communication, as you would call it. So it's a Fine Arts and Fine Arts degree. Mm-hmm. So yeah.
And then Tocarra, you mentioned you have a master's in administration, business
in public administration.
Okay.
Yes, and currently pursuing my doctorate degree.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah. For organizational leadership.
Next time I'm going to be back, it'll be Dr. Robinson, or you go by Eldridge too, right?
Eldridge Robinson.
Eldridge Robinson. Is Eldridge your maiden?
Yes.
Or your maiden name, I would assume. Okay, very cool. How did Still I Rise? How did that get created? What is Still I Rise all about?
So back in 2014, we realized that there was a void in the community as far as for the youth and young adults. So we just basically said, we seen the violence where, was increasing and everything. So we just said, look, something has to be done. So that's when Still I Rise was created. Yeah. So we basically inspire, educate, and empower youth and young adults, to become self-sufficient and make positive changes in society.
Did you kind of always have the idea of doing a non-for-profit like Still I Rise in the back of your head, like when you were younger, going through your college days, or even before that? Because I don't know, what was your experience growing up here in Kankakee County?
Well, for myself, not so much. Aaron, you can elaborate on your...
As far as like having, I always was like business-minded. I always wanted to take on endeavors and create. I'm a creator because I'm actually like an artist. I'm a visual fine artist. I paint, I can draw, all that stuff, but I don't use it as much as I do now because I don't really have the time to sit there and paint a picture or draw. But I always wanted a nonprofit where I can give back as far as the arts and just things under that umbrella. I had an idea like Art Nation, because you could do anything in like a nation, but the whole concept is the art and everything that formulates under there. I want to always do something like that. I probably should have said that. Somebody raised, hey, I got this idea, but
okay.
that was an idea I had for almost like 15 years. So when we came together and thought of the Still I Rise, I was like, this is great because we have some programs with arts and culture.
Right.
We did some talent events and things as such. I was able to display some of my artwork and so forth. So, yeah.
And to piggyback off programs outside of the arts and culture program, we have health and wellness, financial literacy, youth entrepreneur. So, yeah, and we're looking to expand and expound on our programs as well.
Mm-hmm.
I know, recently you had the event creating care packages to keep people warm in the winter. And I know that wasn't the very first time you've done that. You've been doing that probably at least, is it a couple times a year where you do that?
Well, more than a couple, but yeah.
Okay, I wasn't sure how many times a year. It was putting those packages together that had boots and blankets, and then there was a meal from, it was 5-star wings, I think, right?
Yes.
That sounded incredible.
Yes.
Was it a good turnout? turnout?
It was a great turnout. We did a couple of those, and funny you mention it. We have one coming up on Saturday, February 26th.
Mhm.
So we'll be reaching out to the homeless again, giving hats, gloves, scarves, blankets, things similar to the last event.
Mm-hmm.
And then this time we'll have a hot meal to-go meal that will be catered by Eric's Edibles.
Okay.
And so it'll be lasagna, garlic bread, peach cobbler, and salad.
Wow. Well, they obviously deserve that. Deserve a good meal. I mean, how often do they get a good meal like that? So that's great.
And it's something that's like dear to our heart because everyone almost one step away from being homeless if they miss a paycheck. Unfortunate situations happen in their life, but a lot of us don't think of it like that. So when we out giving to the homeless on the street, it's definitely a gratification, but it's us. It's our heart. We're not looking for a reward or anything like that. We just know that it's needed and something that we should do because we really is connected to the community and want to make a difference.
So what are some of the big goal projects that are currently in the works for Still I Rise?
We look to develop a youth development and violence prevention program. So that's one of the biggest ones that's on the radar at the moment.
And your experience trying to get closer to the youth and gain their trust and help them along, try to steer them away from violence. What's the answer, or what are some of the answers you think, in your opinion, to steer them away from the violence we've been seeing, especially, and this is just not the Kankakee area, it's all over the country right now, and it seems like that especially happens during trying times like we're living in now with the pandemic, trying to get out of the pandemic. I feel like similar things kind of happened when the housing market crashed, when Obama was in office. I feel like that was another period of time where people were struggling financially, and so that always seems to lend itself for crime rates to go up. So what are, in your opinion, what are some ways to help kids stay away from that?
In my opinion, they want to see someone that could connect to them. We just had a conversation about that because a guy was asking me, "Hey, wear your suit. Why you wear your suits?" I'm like, I wear the suits. When I started off with the magazine, Custom Magazine, I was wearing suits and out in the public. But I really truly believe the youth have to connect with you. They want to see someone like them almost, So
if you're wearing a suit, you're not very approachable, right?
Yes.
Unless you're like me, I was like 10 years old and wearing suits and ties, and I loved it. But that's like one kid out of every 20 or whatever, that there's very few of kids that are like that. So you got to dress. How do you find ways to kind of get down to their level?
Like the school district, we partner with the school district and also go in and help in classes and things and such. And some of the kids would be like, "Hey, Mr. Robinson, I like the shoes. I like the I like this. I like that. Can I touch your, the necklace?" I'm like, "Yeah, this." I tell them what it's about, and they feel connected. So I earned they trust, and when they have like issues or problems, they could come to me and talk to me about that. So that lessen their situations of getting in trouble or maybe going home. Like at the end of the day, sometimes they're like, "Hey, can I shoot around? I want to play basketball because at home I don't have a basketball rim or my ball may be busted or something like that." I said, "Come on, let's do this before you go home. Let's have some fun." So I play around with them and things as such. And even with our programs, we just connect with them. I want to use the phrase down to earth, we're not above them, or we just want to see eye to eye, like, hey, we're real people too. And, one day you're going to grow up and be grown, and we want you to have some of those attributes like, hey, I belong to this society or community. So, those are just some thoughts.
Yeah. How about for you, Tocarra?
So I've always been a fan of, to piggyback off of what Aaron said, just looking up to a person that kind of looks like you. Because, like he said, in school, I go in and volunteer. And they're always like, oh, I love your hair, Miss Robinson, or, whatever. So, and then some of them will come and they will share information like from home or whatever with me. And I'm able to give them pointers and, positive messages.
What are some of the misconceptions you feel like that filter throughout our community right now that just aren't so when it comes to the violence or when it comes to the kids or anything that you're involved in? I mean, obviously there's kind of several facets, because we also mentioned earlier about, helping provide supplies, things of need and food for the homeless or people who are about to be homeless. What are the misconceptions you think that need to be looked at from a different angle?
I feel like some misconceptions, as far as like with some of our community leaders, some individuals are not very open-minded, and so they kind of just put somebody in a box and they just feel like this is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So they don't give that particular politician or whatever a chance. They just kind of already have summed them up, and to me, that's not fair. And I feel like that's a big change that needs to happen in the area.
I definitely don't want you to give names or you can you like give an example without pointing out any names or organizations in particular?
Oh.
I mean, because I'm not here to create any controversy. I'm just curious. I guess I just want an example without, I'm not saying, hey, I need you to come out and talk crap about this person or anything.
Right. So
I'm just curious as to, I guess, to be like more direct with like what these misconceptions are.
Me being a Kankakee, I was raised here, but when I started to come up here, I started to see different things what people was telling me. So a lot of stuff people tell you is kind of the same thing what they probably was taught, but as in areas, give different areas a chance. Don't be what's the word I'm looking for? Don't stereotype, because everybody on this side of town is not everybody on this side of the town, if you know what I mean.
Yes.
Like or it may be some other people on the side of the town. Some people come from poverty. It may be some racial issues or this, that, but that's not everyone. Give people a chance. Stop the old thought. Let's be more open-minded. Let's go out here and try it. Let's try it. Why can I not go on this side of town if I feel like they this or that? I want to go over there. It's probably for me to go over there and break the stereotype.
Mm-hmm.
If people say I'm not welcome here, I'm going to go over there because I feel like I can mingle and conversate with anyone. So why should I not be able to go over here and show my presence? So I think that's I think those are some of the misconceptions and things as such. And it could go into a lot of things. We were just on the it was a board meeting that we was at. We on the board.
Tonight, right? The meeting you were at tonight?
It was several days ago.
Oh, okay.
And for example, I'm going to put it out there, like people say Pioneer Park is for the black people go to Pioneer Park. Okay, we know they may go there, but let's show some other nationalities to go there. Let's break this stereotype. Let's not just label with that. Let everyone come nationalities and break the stereotype. Let's make a change, because it's going to continue to be like this the next 100 years if we do not stand up and come out and show our faces, and even our children's going to grow up like, hey, they going to feel like this park belongs to one group of people. It doesn't. So I'm just giving an example, like, some things that came up when we were speaking. So
it's funny how groups of people, they have the same fears. Like, you have a fear of going to a park that is primarily maybe of a white race or whatever, and then it's the other way around too.
Right.
Like the white race and other races might be afraid to go to a certain park because of the African American or Hispanic or whatever it is population. you sit down and you think about it, and it's like you're both afraid of this. It's almost the same. You're both afraid of each other, so it's like, and then it's like, but we need to,
Let's get out and talk about it. Let's break that barrier. Let's cross that so we can show that example to the youth and everyone that's coming up behind us, so they not coming up and like, hey, my mother said this part with this, or my grandma said this, or let's change that.
Yeah. And I just it hasn't been quite a year since doing this podcast, and more and more people are coming out of the woodworks and turning out to be from Hopkins Park in Pembroke, and they're doing great things, such as yourself. I'm discovering more and more there's great people coming out of an area that doesn't get enough recognition, but should, because there's these great like-minded people like yourself that are coming out of there and doing these great things. So, it's really great to see from a different limelight,
Yeah. And I feel like I have to be the beacon of light, or I have to make that change for this concept, whatever people put on an area. I'm like, no, we better than that. We could do different. I hate this one guy. He was shocked because he was down in the area just so bad. I was like, hey, I'm from Hopkins Park. Like, really? Like, yeah, I am. I'm not ashamed to say it. Any interview or anyone I talk to, I'm grateful. I'm happy to say I'm from Hopkins Park. It's no shame. I don't care if I grew up in poverty. It was a lot of situations we had when we was growing up, but I'm here. I'm here to talk about it. Everybody don't get the opportunity. And I'm here to advocate for change, and it could be betterment, if you put forth the effort and if you want to do better for yourself. Why not?
What are some direct examples of things you're wanting to make changes in, or make things better with, Still I Rise? Some other, I know you talked about that program earlier. That's like your ultimate goal. What are all the facets involved in that?
So to get the ball rolling, we'll be, of course, hiring staff, to run the program and everything. Program director, coordinator, assistant, etc. And then basically we're just looking to make a difference in youth lives and lessen the violence and just the negative activities that youth, partake in these days.
For the negative stigmas and things and so forth. And letting them know no matter what type of home you come from, you still could be great. You still, if you want to, be a business savvy individual. You could go to this college. You can do that, no limitations. The sky's the limit if it makes sense, so just go for your goal and believe in your existence and your purpose,
Are there any young people that you've worked with since starting the organization that really started out in a bad situation and now they're doing much better? Is there any examples of that you can think of?
Probably plenty of. I was going to say. Yeah, a lot of the youth, they will come up and thank us for, our programs. And they're like, oh my gosh, if your program didn't exist, I don't know where I'd be today, or things like that. And that's very, very gratifying.
Yeah, it is. There's nothing like that feeling. What's an average day for both of you? Because outside of Still I Rise, what is your full time? I know I mentioned the publishing company. Is that your full time gig, or what?
Say that's one of them, but it's a balance. We do a balance.
Because you have Consciousness, right?
Yeah,
magazine.
Conscious Magazine.
Let's talk about that. So how did Consciousness Magazine start? Is that what you both work on then, outside of Still I Rise?
We do. However, he started prior to.
Okay.
Prior to us.
It was established back in 2004. So that's one of my main, I say babies right there.
Yeah.
So we still building. We reached a lot of levels, changed a lot of lives with the publication, inspired a lot of people, and we just continue to move forth. And and empower, through the publication. So it's been a grateful experience, and it still is to this day.
So what's the whole premise of the magazine?
Basically, to make a difference in society. It's an entertainment, inspirational publication, and we have intriguing content, interviewed celebrities and significant individuals with testimonies and stories and so forth. That's heartfelt and bring awareness to some of the things they may not say certain media. So, just giving them an opportunity to have the floor and speak.
And I know you just had the Fifth Dimension lead singer. You had Florence LaRue.
Oh, yeah.
Or is it LaRue? It's LaRue, isn't it? Pronounced LaRue?
Yes.
I mean, that's so awesome. Mm-hmm. That's so, and Sister Sledge too, right?
Oh, yes.
I mean, what have been like your favorite people to talk to or learn from? What was something interesting I'm seeing these names. I'm sure there's several other names besides, especially since you've been doing the Consciousness magazine since 2004.
Isaiah Thomas, NBA legend, Hall of Famer. I actually met him through the publication many, many years ago. And what I love about Isaiah, he's like a real individual. You could come up to him, you could talk to him, you could touch him. He's real, no bodyguards, any of that stuff. And we from the same area, basically, west side of Chicago. And every year he gives back to his community. And he's just a heartfelt, individual. He's I could go all day about it, but you know what I'm saying? And individuals like that, or Booker T of the WWE, became one of my friends. And like he say, hey, I'm just a regular dude out here. I work too. And just because his work situation may be different for yours, but he's still going to work. He said, I put on my pants the same way the other individual. That don't make me different, know? So individuals like that, they may have a celebrity, or they may be famous, but they still real individuals. And that's what I love about some of the people that we interview, and some of the people that became my friends over the years. So,
is Consciousness magazine, is it still a print magazine, or is it just completely digital now? I know a lot of publications with this day and age, they have both or one or the other,
Yeah. We mainly print on demand, but we still digital. If you go to www.conscious magazine, or just put in Conscious Magazine in Google, it come up on a whole lot of online stores and so forth. So you can order it and get a print issue, or you could get a download issue of digital. So
okay, great.
Yeah.
When you posted the cover about Sister Sledge and then, Fifth Dimension and everything, it made me want to read it too. So, I mean, both legendary, music groups and musicians and everything.
Absolutely.
So while Aaron's working on Consciousness magazine, what are you working on, Tocarra?
I'm working on Consciousness magazine as well.
Okay.
So I interview also.
You interview also? Okay. So who have been some of your favorite interviews or people to talk to?
I could say India Reed was one of the most heartwarming and heartfelt interviews that I did. She was just a real, I could send her like an auntie or something. Just was real, and she just made me know that it's okay to be you and to look how you look. I can have my hair like I have it. I don't have to look like the next person to make it in the industry. So she basically, she was awesome.
It's interesting. You could walk around and think, oh, gosh, I hate my hair. But then you're going to get like 10 or 20 people in one day that'll walk by you and say, oh my gosh, Tocarra, I love your hair. I wish I had that hair.
And Aaron, I get that all the time, right?
I mean, and it doesn't, they could say that about me. They could say that about Aaron, be like, man, I wish I had Aaron's hair. And Aaron's like, man, I hate my hair. It's just amazing how we, we take for granted, I guess, what we do have, or like think and just kind of embracing that, like I'm trying to, I've got a receding hairline, so I'm somehow trying to figure out how I can embrace that and kind of just be like, yeah, okay, that's what I have to work with. I'm balding, that's okay. But, and maybe someone out there is jealous of that. I don't know. I have yet to find someone, but maybe there is. But, it's just funny how we have those things. You always want what you don't have, and then when you have it, you don't want it.
Yeah.
So it's constantly trying to find that balance.
For sure.
What are some things that Still I Rise needs help with, or are you looking for volunteers, or what exactly do you need help with?
Still I Rise can always use donations because our goal is to help as many as possible. So, of course, the more donations, then the more we're able to reach, So donations and volunteers also.
And if someone wants to become a volunteer or even to donate, where do they go? Where do they go to look up Still I Rise online?
Yes, they can go to our website, www.still-irise.org. And then also they can call 815-414-9614.
Okay, awesome. What are some things that you would like to see happen here in the future?
Oh, wow. I think it's moving in a great direction right now. And we just sit back and see how everything develop and just enjoy it while we're in our existence right now, Like I tell Tocarra, we always talk about it. Some people say we may not have this or this. And my attitude would be like, hey, if we don't have it, you can go make a way and see how you can bring it here. That's my attitude.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
And then we'll have it, But I understand people concerns, thoughts, and things as such, and no way overlook that. But if we continue to play our roles, have conversation, and create ideals, it could be. Everything is, I believe, is one day at a time, and continue to develop and grow. So
now I just remembered, Tocarra, there was one thing I was going to ask you about, and now I just remembered it. So you have a relationship with Gretchen, or Gretchen, and I don't know Gretchen's last name, but she's definitely been a person of interest to have on the podcast because almost everyone knows Gretchen, whether it's just they've seen her in public many times or what. But Gretchen, she sewed or she crocheted like a blanket for you guys, right?
Yes. So, that was so touching to us. So, she found us and she had handcrafted a blanket for us. And then she had also a goodie bag filled with like hygiene items. And she just wanted to bless someone that was homeless with that. So
what do you know do you know anything else about Gretchen? Have you talked with her? I'm just curious to know more about Gretchen.
Just from seeing her around, and of course, if we're in the same place, I'll speak to her and everything. But
sure.
No, I don't have a personal relationship with her. However,
okay, very kind of her to make that blanket and donate it. So that was very sweet.
Yes, sure was.
Yes, it was.
Yeah. This has been a lot of fun. Thank you both, Aaron and Tocarra Robinson, for being on. Look up Still I Rise. Look up Consciousness Magazine. Are there any other magazines or publishings that you're affiliated with that you want to give a shout out to?
Not publishing, but you can also check out tocarramusic.com, and that's music with a K.
Okay, so you play or you sing or both?
It's kind of a mesh, a blend of
okay, so let's talk about that. I didn't even think here we go. We're not done yet. Let's talk about music. What kind of music do you actually write, or you just perform other people's songs, or?
Oh no, it's original music. So it's like a blend of pop, R&B, rap,
hip-hop.
Hip-hop. So it's like a blend.
A fusion type of music. So Tocarra actually did the the music fest.
Merchant Street Music Fest. I had a 50-minute set last year.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So did you get a band together, or did you just have backing tracks? Or
It was just myself with my original music, and then, of course, my husband, my sidekick.
Okay, so you play too, Aaron?
I'm just her sidekick.
No, he's not just my sidekick. He's been doing this since a youth.
So what do you both play?
We just vocalists.
You're just vocalists, okay.
Hip hop. I'm more of hip hop producer. I just create music and we write together and just put out songs and.
Yeah, so I have a song with his good friend Gary Hines of Sounds of Blackness. Yep, and then also hip hop legend Keith Murray also.
Okay, how did you get into music?
Well,
it was all Aaron.
All Aaron.
Really? You weren't super interested in it until Aaron came along?
Well, I was managing some artists probably about 8-7 years ago. Was it longer?
A little longer than that now.
9, 10 maybe. So
I know, time just flies, doesn't it?
So we were just playing around, and she said something. I said, "Hey, say that again." And she said it again. I was like, "I think we got something there," And from there, we did the artist development, and then we started working with professional artists, recording artists and things and such. And from there, it was just history. So. Yeah, so she never said anything that time when we was kind of playing around.
So you just kind of reeled her into it sounds like.
Well, no, the talent would have went unnoticed if I had not have said those words during that time because I didn't know I had it in me.
But she always said it because she always wrote poetry. You played the clarinet. Mm-hmm. So that was something that was dear to her heart. And I think I poured it out of her again. And it just kind of gelled from there. Mm-hmm. So she was already doing it really before I kind of discovered it. But I said it and I was like, hey, let's make history with this.
So are there any other instruments that you've played? Just clarinet?
Clarinet.
Okay. How about you, Aaron? No other instruments?
I'm not instrumental.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just hear sounds and I could just produce tracks and things and such.
So where's your headspace usually at when you're writing? What sparks something for you? Or are you a person that just says, okay, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to work on this for 30 minutes and then see what happens?
It kind of just comes. It kind of just comes.
We just kind of vibe off each other.
Sure.
Yeah, feed from each other energy and come up with ideas and concepts. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So are there any, do you perform regularly or is it just kind of like a here and there?
Anytime we have a good opportunity, we're definitely performing. Mm-hmm. So we have a few performances already lined up for this year as well.
Do you just go by your name or do you have a separate name?
Oh, no. I go by Tocarra.
You just go by Tocarra. Mm-hmm. Okay. That's awesome. Well, let me know the next time. And are your tracks available online to listen to anywhere? Okay.
Yes.
So where can I find Tocarra?
On all digital platforms.
All of them. So I can just type in, on Spotify, I can type in Tocarra and you'll be there?
Absolutely.
Oh, man. I'm going to listen now. I'm going to let you know what I think. Maybe maybe we'll have to slip in a little sliver for people to check out. Do you have any CDs or anything like that, or is it just digital?
Digital and physical. We have both.
You do have physical copies. Okay, cool. Awesome. Well, I'm excited to check that out now. I've got something else to listen to. That's so cool. But there's no plans in the near future as far as shows or any new music or anything like that right now that you're promoting.
Absolutely. We have I won't say, but we have new music definitely.
We got a couple projects.
That will be releasing soon. Working on that. Yeah.
Yeah, she's gonna always have about 4 shows this summer, festivals.
Yeah.
So
I'm booked for 4 festivals this summer already. So.
Do you know which? Can you announce which ones they are yet?
We gotta wait.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. All right.
But a lot of them are gonna be local, so look out for that. So
okay,
yeah,
that's exciting. Well, good for you. That's fantastic.
Thank you.
Yeah. So yeah, type in Tocarra wherever you get your music online and give that a listen.
And that's Tocarra.
Yes, I'm glad you spelled it because there's just like any other name. There's many different ways to spell it, right? So,
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you again to both of you. And I think that about covers it, right?
I think so as well.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, thank you again. If there's anything I can ever do for both of you, you just let me know. I'm happy to support Still I Rise and, help get the word out,
Thank you, Jay.
Thank you.
Of course. Before we say our goodbyes, I do want to play a song from Tocarra. I had the chance to go on Spotify and look up Tocarra's music, and I really liked it, actually. I was really impressed. The latest single that she released, and it was actually after we recorded the episode with her and Aaron, the latest song she released is called Move Like That, and you can find it on Spotify or wherever it is that you stream music.
This is all vintage records, baby, and done deal.
Rock it. I didn't know you can move your body like that. Then you know you can move your body like that. Turn around, stop your feet. You can do it like that. Turn around, stop your feet. You can do it like that. Come on.
That's what really got me so hot. I'm about to go rock and pop. Tell the DJ if he don't stop. I'm about to wake up the shop.
Bounce, turn around. While you on that merry-go-round. While the crews go downtown, I'll be on that money house.
I'm rocking real loud. My bike is so hard. Get on my runway and I'll pull your plug cord.
I didn't know you can move your body like that. Then you know you can move your body like that. Turn around, stop your feet. You can do it like that. Turn around, stop your feet. You can do it like that. Now put up your hands over here. Now put up your hands over there. Now put up your hands to the right. Now put up your hands to the left. I said put up your hands over here. I said put up your hands over there. Now put up your hands to the right. Now put up your hands to the left. And get loose. Get loose. And get loose. Now get loose. And get loose. Get loose. And get loose. I didn't know you can move your body like that. Then you know you can move your body like that. Turn around, stop your feet. You can do it like that. Turn around, stop your feet. You can do it like that.
Stop. Wait a minute. Hold up.
Now put up your hands over here. Now put up your hands over there. Now put up your hands to the right. Now put up your hands and get loose. And get loose. Get loose. And get loose. I didn't know you can move your body like that. Then you know you can move your body like that. Turn around, stop your feet. You can do it like that. Turn around, stop your feet. You can do it like that. Wait a minute. Now wait a minute. Wait a minute. God damn it, wait a minute.
That's Tocarra's latest single, Move Like That, here on Kankakee Podcast. I really got stuck in my head, honestly. I heard it the one time, and I couldn't get out of my head after I listened to it. That concludes this episode of Kankakee Podcast. Thank you so much to Aaron and Tocarra Robinson of Still I Rise for being guests. I'm Jake LaMore. Thank you so much for listening. Please share this podcast with a family, friend, or neighbor that you think might enjoy learning new things about the people and places of Kankakee County. Because the more we share this podcast with new people, the more we're going to grow. Also, a special thank you to our patrons for helping make this episode possible, including Jake Lee, Jesse Arsenal, Dave Barron, Daryl Damper, Samantha Rocknowski, Blake Iverson, Travis Garcia, Jane Bostwick, Dawn Harrison, Simon Topless, Scott Wright, Carrie O'Connell, Jamie Race, Eric Olson, Jeff and Rosa Carroll, Teague Dreenan, Sandy and Steve Twait, and Rose Lucky. To become a patron, go to KankakeePodcast.com and click on the Patron tab. Now, if you pledge $5 or more per month, you'll also hear your name announced on an episode of Kankakee Podcast. There's also other rewards like early access to episodes, commercial-free episodes. You can also become a guest on the podcast or suggest a topic to be discussed on a future episode. Podcast merch, discounts on podcast events, so much more. Your monthly pledge is truly appreciated, and our goal right now is to reach $400 per month. And this is to help launch our new YouTube series called Kankakee Podcast Out and About, where we actually take you to the inside of some of the coolest places in Kankakee County. So please sign up for the patron program today at KankakeePodcast.com. Even if it's only $1 per month, it helps us reach our goal. So thank you so much for that. Our theme song is by Lupe Carroll. I'll talk to you next time.